Hi there, I'm Natasha, and this is Always Be Crafting. It is February 28th, 2023, and I have posted a video every single day in the month of February. I am so excited. I'm so proud of myself. I had started this month with the challenge of posting a video every single day. My challenge was to have a question and answer, which we're doing today, to have a tutorial, which I did a couple of days ago. It's not horrible. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. And to also go live, which I also did last Wednesday night. I think it was Wednesday night. You can go back and look. Anyways, it has been a wild ride this entire month, and I'm really, really proud of the work I've done, and I'm really excited to answer some questions. Before I jump into questions, I want to show off a couple of things that were finished this month. So along the videos, you saw me do a heart pillow. Now that heart pillow is elsewhere engaged and it is being loved very much. So I can't show that to you, but there's a whole playlist of that video of that project. In my tutorial, I made this bag. Look how cute that is. Now, one thing I had talked about was finishing by hand the ends. So if you watch that tutorial, the only thing not in the tutorial itself is that I went back and did a hand stitch right there at each end of the bag. I did little knots just to secure that. I had a regret when I did the tutorial, I didn't backstitch, and I thought, I don't want that to come undone. The other thing I didn't do in the tutorial, because I was running out of energy and brain space, was finishing up the, sewing up the bottom of the bag. But it has been hand stitched, so it's done. It's all done. It's a beautiful, finished, 100% complete bag. So I love being able to say finished item, this month. Another finished item you've watched me sew this month is this purple bag. Now this is going to be given as a gift, and I'm giving it away to the lucky recipient tomorrow. So I'll show you. Open it up. Open up. And what happens is we have a flap here that comes out, and it has a piece of vinyl with a zipper. And because it's a brand new bag, I haven't even moved the zipper. Look, I'm gonna do it for the first time right here on camera. Here we go. Zip. Woo, boy. There it goes. It's maiden voyage. It has been unzipped. Put things inside if you like, and zip it up. All right, I won't unzip every zipper, but all of them. Flap here, and then it has these pods, 1, 2, 3, and they are all attached inside so they can fall apart, and it's fine. So that's another finished project done, and you can go back through some past videos, and I'm gonna try to link it, but I will tell you right now, I don't think anyone asked what the hardest thing to do in having a YouTube channel was, but I'll tell you, the hardest thing is show notes. I did not know that I am not organized enough to keep really good, accurate show notes. Show notes are hard. It's like writing a report. It's like you do all the work and then you have to write a report about it every day. Other people, I think, are very good at that. I apparently am not. I like to do the crafting, not write about the crafting. Maybe that's why I never really had a blog. I don't like the writing aspect. Oh well. Let's get on to the questions and answers, shall we? All right. First question today. Why always be crafting? So where did I get the name from? Well, I love to play with things we know. We already know ABC. We know it as the beginning of the alphabet. We know it here in the United States. It is a TV channel. We know it as, da 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 da. You know the song. So it is a very familiar idea. ABC. It's a very familiar idea. It's in our communal psyche, if you will. So I like to take things that are known and kind of turn them on their head. It's what appeals to me. I'm kind of a rebel without a cause. And always be crafting is actually sort of my call to action. It's my mantra because it is how I live my life. I am crafting my life. I live each day, each moment to the best of my ability with purpose. I live with intention. The choices I make about my life, whether it is, what I'm putting on clothing wise in the morning or what I'm eating, those are decisions we make, the little small decisions, but I do try to do those with intention. And of course, the big decisions, how we raise our children, where we want our children to go to school, what we want them to learn, how we treat other people, the people we interact with, what kind of person do we want to be when we're out in the world. But who we are out in the world is who we are all the time, really. You can't really be two people. I don't want to live a life that's a lie. I don't want to put on a show out in the world and pretend that I have it all together, where at home I'm a mess. I have no problem showing the world that I'm a mess. So if you know me in real life, I let it all show. I hide nothing because I try to be my most authentic self all the time, because why? Why should I lie? Why should I be anything other than who I am? Right? Life's too short. So I have crafted my life, and along with my husband, we have crafted a life together. And I believe that that's what Always Be Crafting is. It's not just about what you make with your hands, but it's what you make with your life. So always be crafting. Where did your love of crafting come from? All right, I wrote down my answer. My parents' inability to throw things away. For real. My parents threw nothing away. They were the children of war. They were both born in 1938, 1940. And my mom grew up being booted around camps in Europe and ghettos in Brazil. And her family created a life, and she had nothing when she was a child. My father's family did a lot of moving around from the Midwest and had to kind of rebuild a life in California. And they threw nothing away. It was like, want not, waste not, want not. Nothing got thrown away, which means, and I grew up on a farm also. And if you know me, I say that a lot. I grew up on a farm. I had raw materials at my disposal. We had 10.5 acres, and it was a farm for fun because both of my parents were engineers. So the farm wasn't for sustainability for us. It wasn't what gave us our livelihood. It was what gave us our livelihood. It's like how we lived. And I was totally a free range chicken, and my dad never threw away anything. So there were always tires and pieces of wood and jars of nails and all the tools you could imagine. And my mom also kind of hoarded things because she had nothing as a child. So if she saw beautiful fabrics or whatever it was, all the crafting supplies, she loved to make things. And she was an exquisite maker. Both of my parents were incredibly talented in their own right. They had the skills, and anything I needed to learn, I could learn from them. But also they had all the tools. So my mom had the sewing machines and the knitting needles and the paintbrushes, and my dad had all the hammers and nails and saws and just everything. So I grew up with all the raw materials and none of the supervision. I could do whatever I wanted, and I had a lot of free time. And also I have an auditory delay where I have a hard time understanding people. So it's very easy for me to kind of live inside my own head. That was just sort of how I processed things as a child. I couldn't understand people. As a little kid, you can't understand people talking. It's all wah, 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 wah. Like, it's very much like the grown-ups on Charlie Brown, right? So if I couldn't understand what was going on, I stopped trying. So as a little kid, I didn't pay any attention to what was going on around me because I couldn't understand it anyways. So I wasn't worried about what was going on around me. I didn't care. I was just living in my head, having my ideas. And then you add that to no supervision or very little supervision and all the raw materials and all the tools. It was like the perfect melting pot for creativity. And my parents supported it. they really supported it. So that's where it came from. That's where my love of crafting came from. It came from my childhood, and I'm very thankful for that. All right. Do you have a dedicated space? Yes, I'm in my dedicated space, technically. But if you remember, I said I'm always crafting. So technically every space I'm in is a dedicated crafting space. Seriously though, I have more pairs of scissors than you can count. I have tools all over my house. It drives my husband nuts. He says he can never find a pair of scissors, but really you only have to step a few feet to find a pair of scissors in my house. Like, you can find whatever tools you want to do whatever you want almost in whatever room you're in. So I just travel around my house. So yes, I have a desk in my basement. I have a sewing machine. I have a space where most of my supplies are. But then if I want to do something in my bedroom, things come up to my bedroom. If I want to do something while I'm watching TV in the living room, things go up to the living room. If I want to sit at the kitchen table and talk to my family while they're doing whatever they're doing, things come up and go there. So I just take my crafting supplies everywhere. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is. It is the truth of my life. I hope the lighting is okay. I was having a really hard time with lighting. I hope this isn't too shadowy. I hope you're okay. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. All right. Where does your inspiration come from? I love this question. My inspiration comes from service. How can I be of service? How can the item I'm making be of service? I very rarely make for the sake of making, because I don't really think that exists. Even if the sake of making is my mental health, that is the service it's doing. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason. There is nothing just for the sake of nothing. Does that make sense? It's a very philosophical question, I guess. And to me, if I'm making something, I'm doing something of service. So when I did my YouTube live, I led you through doodling, and it was really just for mental health. Like, you doodle as a stress reliever. You doodle maybe because you want to make a card for a friend, give it as a gift. There's always a reason behind what you're doing. And if you're doing it for yourself, for your mental health, that is a valid reason. That is not an invalid reason. That is a valid reason. And so I think when people say you do it for the sake of doing it, they're not allowing you to put the importance of, hey, I'm doing this because it's important to do it for my mental health. And that's what that really should be, in my opinion. So how do I get my inspiration? Service. What is it serving? Is it serving just my mental health at this moment? Or is it serving another purpose? Is it going to help me stay organized? Is it going to be a gift I give to somebody else? Am I making something that is going to keep someone warm? It's usually I'm making something either to help me do something else. Like currently I'm making a backpack, and the purpose of the backpack for me is so it's going to house all my stuff when I go to work. Like, I know its job. When it's finished, that is its job. It's going to hold my ukulele. It's going to hold, my egg shakers, my rhythm sticks. It's going to hold my personal items, my personal effects that when I go into a classroom, that is what's on my back. So when I was choosing the fabrics, I was choosing what's going to make me happy every day, because I'm going to look at this backpack every day. What's going to be bright in like the children might enjoy seeing it, like what am I not going to get sick of seeing? What's going to hold up? So, that's the service is what inspires me. What is your favorite material? I like to say whatever I'm working with is my favorite, because I've chosen the material based on the service of the project. Does that make sense? So I think what is my favorite material might go in line with where does the inspiration come from. And someone also asked, do I have favorite projects? So I'm going to answer a lot of these at the same time. Okay, so my favorite material is usually whatever I'm working with, because I'm working with it for a reason. I will say there are very few things I dislike, but there are a couple. There are a couple of things mostly plastic based that I do not like. I do not like them at all. There is this kind of, you know what, I'm not going to waste time on it. There are things in this world I do not like. And if I do not have to use them, I will not use them. If I have to use them because they are serving a greater good, then I will use them. But generally speaking, I love everything. I love paper. I love pens. I don't love all yarns because I don't love how yarn feels against my skin. Like, I know I'm wearing a sweater, but like something working with yarn, like my fingers are very sensitive. So I don't do a lot of like knitting or crocheting. It's not that I can't, it's just I generally avoid it because of how it rubs against my skin. But I don't hate it. It's just not, maybe it's not a preferred activity. But again, if it's serving the greater good, you got to do what you got to do. Fabric gives me a lot of options. So quilting cottons are a really amazing source of color and design. And for years, there have been some really amazing artists that have been featured by fabric companies. So you have not just the artists and being featured on the fabric, but then like the artisans making the fabric also. So quilting cottons, generally speaking, give me the most variety. So I do play with fabric a lot. Bag making has let me play with more fabric. I know there's a lot of quilters out there and I love quilting. My mom was a quilter. I've got a lot of baggage with quilting, and I think I've spoken about that before. I'll probably speak about it again in the future, but I'm not speaking about it right now because this isn't therapy right now. So I do love quilting, but it's a heavy subject for me. So, but I do love quilting cottons. I love the fabric for quilting, but there's very few things I don't like. There's some things that are harder to use and you have to know how to use them. Like if I'm sewing vinyl, for example, it's going to take a different sewing machine foot. It's going to take different threads sometimes. Sometimes it takes a different needle. Maybe the settings on my machine have to be different as far as like tension and things like that go. So it's not that I don't like it. It's just going to take a different mindset. So I have to think about how I'm doing it. Sometimes I'm lazy and I don't want to think. That's totally valid because sometimes I just don't want to think. Yeah, so that's that answer. And I'll go ahead and answer favorite projects at the same time as favorite material because whatever project I'm finishing is my favorite. There are projects I don't finish. Oh, one question was, have I ever changed my mind mid-project? Yes. Yes, I change my mind mid-project all the time. So if I finish a project, it's my favorite. It's my favorite. All of them are my favorites. Like you can't say which is your favorite child. They're all my favorites. If I finish a project, it's my favorite. I love it. Comparison is the thief of joy. So how can I have a favorite? I love them all. And I think it's really important to be open-minded to changing mid-project. I think it's very, very, very valid because if you're doing something and it's not working, it could be for a lot of reasons. You could be not, like I said before, with like your thread could be wrong, your tension could be wrong, you could be using the wrong machine foot. It could be, so many things could be going wrong. If you're battling your project, if you're sewing it or gluing it or painting it, if you're fighting, then that is a sign that something's wrong, right? So you need to take in that sign, take in that information. Okay, why is this a battle? Why am I fighting? What's wrong here? And then it's like improv, you take in the information and then next. Yes, and. Okay, so this wasn't working. Either how can I adapt it? How can I change my method to make it work? How can I change my material to make it work? Or how can I learn a lesson about this so I either don't have to repeat this mistake and waste time or waste materials in the future? And how can I move on from this? I don't like throwing things away, so I very rarely throw anything away. Like I very rarely throw anything away because again, my parents never threw anything away. So like a piece of fabric has to be like this big it has to be almost unusable for me to even throw a scrap of fabric away. So if I'm doing a project and it hasn't worked and I haven't loved it, even if it's finished, if it's not a favorite, that means it's not finished. If I haven't called it, like if I haven't loved it, it's not finished. It is now still raw material for something else. It's not really finished, even if it's finished in the sense that I did all the steps I thought I was going to do. I executed my goal. If I don't love it, it's not finished. It is still a work in progress in some capacity. I don't know what that capacity is, so it's just going to go to sit on the side, and we're going to see how it's going to change, because it could be I might need to learn something new. Maybe there's something I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know, but what do I still need to learn that's going to help me finish this project? So, yeah, I change things mid-project all the time because you just don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And so don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to stop or change or whatever, because that's life. That's life, man. Crafting is life. Life is crafting. I'm telling you, they are the same thing. They are the same thing. So never be afraid to change. This is a similar question. When you start a project with options, how do you decide between the media or mixing media? Function. Again, everything I do, I want it to have a service. So what is the function of that service? So am I making something because I want someone to feel better? Is it something to comfort? Am I looking for something soft, something cuddly, something warm? Like what are the aspects of that service? Am I looking for something that's going to help you in the bathroom stay organized? Maybe that needs to be waterproof. So that's a function of that project. So that's going to determine my materials. If it needs to be waterproof, if it needs to be moved around a lot, handled a lot, is it something that's going to stay stationary? Like a vase on a shelf isn't going to move around a lot, but it needs to hold water, right? So it can be fragile. You can make a vase out of pottery because it's not moving around a lot. It can be fragile, but it has to be solid, right? It can't be made out of fabric. So you have to think about its function. And so that's how you mix those ideas, and then you can play with them. So that's how I decide what media I'm using. Service first, and then function. And if I can avoid some of that plastic stuff, but I'm not going to talk about that. Let's see. Do I use patterns? Yes. Not always. I mean, I make up a lot of stuff. But yeah, I'll use patterns because patterns are teachers, right? How are you going to learn how to do something if someone doesn't tell you how to do it, or you don't experiment and try to learn? And sometimes the best way to learn is to copy something else, right? So basically, if I wanted to copy this sweater would become my pattern, right? If I said, I love everything about this sweater, but I want it in green, then this sweater is now my pattern. It is now my prototype. It's now what I'm going to copy. So patterns teach us. They give us information, whether it's information about sizing or materials or written patterns can give you so much good information about choices you can make or not make. And there are some pattern writers that are better pattern writers than others, people who've been doing it a long time and have taken in feedback and have improved their pattern writing. I've been doing some bag making recently, like over the last couple of years. I just got into bag making. And when I say bag making, I mean following other people's patterns, because I've been sewing together little sacks, little, drawstring bags or zipper bags. I've been putting together little things for as long as I can remember. I think the first thing you learn how to sew is a pillowcase. And if you think about it, a pillowcase is just a bag, right? It's a bag for your pillow. And you add handles and it becomes a bag for something else. So I've been making bags a long time, as long as I can remember. But only a couple of years ago, I started following other people's patterns, because that let me go from other things other than zip pouches and tote bags, because that's all I really ever made were very basic, simple bags. And now that I'm following other people's patterns, I'm finding some pattern makers that are hard to understand for me, and they could be really good for someone else though. So I don't want to like be naming names, because just because it didn't work for me doesn't mean it doesn't work for someone else. So the last thing I'm going to do is tell you not to try, because that goes against everything, like every fiber of my being, because you don't know until you try. You don't know you're going to like the way a pattern maker writes their patterns until you try their pattern, right? Right? So that's what I'm doing. If I see a pattern that looks interesting, I like watching videos if I can. If I like someone's presence on camera, that helps. Not everyone has a great presence. That's fine. If I think what they're teaching is helping me, I move through it. Like, I'm not judging you based on whether you have an accent or you speak clearly or whatever. Like, that's not, I want to know what you know, and can I learn from you? And sometimes I'll watch a video and I turn it off because sometimes I realize, oh, this person actually knows less than me, or something. I'm like, I'm not really learning anything from this person. I'm not getting any entertainment out of this person. I need to move on. This person is not serving me, and that's fine. It's okay. I know I am not for everybody, but I'm not going to go say anything bad about that person. You know what I mean? Like, that creator, thank goodness they're creating. Thank goodness they're putting it out into the universe, because that's how they're going to get better. And maybe they're going to do something else in the future, and I'm going to find them again and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I found your video. I never would have thought of blah, 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 blah. Because that's how all of us learn. We learn in community. And that's like a huge takeaway. We learn in community. When we talk about, like, every child, it takes a village, that is for everything. That is for everyone. We all need community. And if we can take advantage of YouTube, social media, whatever, take advantage of it. Do not let yourself be isolated. We all need community. All of us, makers, non-makers, creators, non-creators, however you label yourself or don't label yourself, whoever you are discovering yourself to be, we all need community. So that's why I'm here. I'm here because I need community. So I'm putting my voice out here. And yeah, let me see. What questions? Will you continue after February? Yes, because I love it. I love it. I love filming these. I don't love editing. Editing is not my favorite. Editing is hard. Editing is hard work. So I think I'm going to be making some very big choices about how I want my YouTube channel to look. My YouTube channel might end up being a lot of me talking, because I don't have to edit as much if it's just this, like, sitting down talking. I'm not saying there won't be any editing, but like the action shots, those are really difficult. Tutorial, that's really difficult. And I'm not sure I want to be doing tutorials. There's a lot of wonderful tutorials out there. I'm not sure I have anything new to add to the tutorial world. Maybe I'll feel called towards it at some point, but right now I want to do another zipper tutorial, because I want to kind of nail that. This tutorial wasn't bad. It's a good start, but I kind of want to nail it. I don't feel finished. You know what I mean? I kind of want to do it again. So, yeah, but that's more of a me thing than what the universe needs thing. So yes, I will not be filming every day. I will not be posting every day, but I will be posting. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to go try for once a week or like every 10 days, but I'm definitely going to keep posting more than once a month, more than twice a month. I don't know if it's going to be like 4 times a month or 3 times a month. That's what I'm trying to figure out. And because I want to make sure that what I'm putting out there is valuable for me and valuable for you. And this posting every day has really taken away, timing wise, has been really challenging, and has left me with less time to do other things. And so I've been very overwhelmed, especially the last couple days. I've been like, oh, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, and I've learned a lot, and it's been wonderful. I have zero regrets, but it's informing how I'm going to move forward. How do you manage to finish a project? That's hilarious. I do not finish a lot of projects. I walk away. There's a lot of things I walk away from. So again, it comes back to purpose. What was my purpose? My purpose is usually it comes from service. So if I'm making something for a specific reason, I'm making it to be of service, then if that need still exists, then that project's getting done. That's really what it is. And if that need is me, that's okay. I'm worth it. I know that. You're worth it. We're all worth it. We can all, whatever that project is. This project got done because I needed to thank that friend. That friend did me a favor that I need to say thank you for. So this needed to get finished. I needed to finish that tutorial. I needed to do that. I said I was going to do it. I needed to do that for myself, for my mental health. I needed to get that done. So the bag got done. If you looked around this room, there's a whole lot of things that are not done because they didn't need to get done. Things get done when they need to get done. And that's just how the world is, because life moves fast and I don't need to finish something just for the sake of finishing it. Everything's of service. How does this serve me? How does this serve you? How does this serve the greater community? And I try to live my life as one of service. And if I am needed elsewhere, then I'm needed elsewhere. That's all there is to it. So yeah, I think I'm going to end with my last question because I think it's hilarious. My sewing student, I asked her, I said, do you have any questions after watching my YouTube channel? She said, I have one question. Why do you talk so much? I thought that was hilarious. Why do I talk so much? I do. I talk a lot. I talk a lot because I feel good. I've been talking since I learned to talk. That's it. I like talking. Wah, 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 wah. So that's my video. That's my last video. Oh my gosh, there should be like confetti or something. I did it. I did it. I did it. I just want to say thank you. Thank you all so much for giving me the support to do this, to take on this challenge. And I look forward to having another tutorial, another zip pouch tutorial in the month of March. So you're definitely going to get that tutorial this month. You're definitely going to get at least 2 more videos this month in March, and more videos along the way. We'll see what comes. I'll try to, streamline it and I will make it of service to all of us, of service to me and service to you. Again, thank you so much. I look forward to getting things in my Etsy store. That'll be fun. Visit me on Etsy. I just loaded in a couple of items a couple of nights ago. I'm looking forward to finishing some things, and maybe the purpose will be to put them in the store. That's what I'll do. And yeah, so again, thank you. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. If you like what you see, go ahead and click like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And thanks for being here. I don't know what else to say. I'm so grateful. Thank you.